Well, good morning. Jim Sunderwirth here. Good to be with you today. Hey, we're getting into Leviticus. Yep, and I'm telling you, it's not, well, sometimes it's not the most inspiring book in the world because it talks about, it talks a lot about blood. There's no doubt about that. But it's okay because God says to us, look, there's going to be sacrifice, there's going to be priest, and there's going to be feast. And basically, the book of Leviticus talks about sacrifice. It talks about the priest and how that the priest should work with the people, and then it talks about the different feasts, and those feasts, that is a phenomenal thing when we get to that place called where it talks to us about the feasts that God sets up for the people to rest and for the people to remember. So it's an amazing thing. Anyway, so today we're going to start off with the things that pertain to the Levites. That's what Leviticus is. It talks about the things that pertain to the Levites. Now, remember why the Levites were chosen to be high priest and priest. It was because, remember, when they came off when Moses came down off the mountain, they found the calf and they were dancing around the calf. Moses said, come and stand by me. Those that are going to stand with God, come and stand with me. And the Levites were the first there, and they were there. And from that point till 70 AD, from that point till 70 AD, the Levites were the priesthood. And it's an amazing thing to think about it. Well, in Leviticus, 88 times it'll talk about the blood. 71 times it'll be referred to being made clean. 91 times will reference being holy, and 128 times will reference being to uncleanliness. So basically, what Leviticus is God bringing us out of sin or out of uncleanliness into cleanliness, or into being able to stand before Him. And we all know that none of us, there's none righteous, no, not one. But and the children of Israel were for sure unrighteous, that's for sure, and we've seen that all along the way. But God says, I'm going to make it possible through the blood of innocent animals. PETA, they don't like Leviticus because it talks about animals and all the different things that happen to them because of God allowing us to be set free through the innocent blood shed of an innocent animal. So it's very, very important that we understand that God makes it possible for you and for me to stand before Him by substitution. That's an amazing thing. By substitution, there's a sacrifice made. There's a lot of sacrifices. By the shedding, Hebrews 9:22 says, without the shedding of blood, there's no remission of sin. They would have to offer a goat or a sheep or a bull for the offering for sin. And there was all kinds of different offerings that in Leviticus that they had to observe. One was the burnt offering, was a sheep, calf, goat, or birds. It was on consecration. And then there was the grain offering, which was fine flour, olive oil, and fragrant incense. And they'd bake the cake and they'd give it and they'd burn it as unto the Lord in the sweet smelling fragrance of the incense before the Lord. They had the peace offering, which was a thanksgiving offering for the blessings of their life. And then they'd be so grateful. They'd bring a fellowship peace offering. Then there was a sin offering that would cover the general sin of their life, and that was they would have to bring the offering of a bull. And then they had the guilt offering, which if they had gone against someone else or they had stolen from someone, they would have to bring a male sheep, and then they would have to give 20% on top of that above what they had taken. I mean, this was so detailed, but they were doing this because God said, in the sacrifice, we want you to understand that you are responsible. We have responsibilities too. It's an important thing. The parallel system with Jesus, God knew that we couldn't make it. There's no way that we could do it. See, He made these 10 commandments. We've gone through them. You know what they are. And those 10 commandments, and then he added over 600 more as to how the specifics of it would work, all along knowing that we couldn't do it. It was impossible. And so, in fact, in 1 Peter 1:20, it says, Jesus was chosen before the foundation of the world. In other words, there was a Savior chosen for us before the foundation of the world. You got to realize, you have to understand, God is outside of time. And as He's outside of time, He can see things from the past to the future. He sees the whole parade. And only thing we see is where we are in that parade. But he sees the whole parade, the beginning and the end. And he said, we're going to need a Savior. He knew that we couldn't make it. And yet, God, before the world began, God had already chosen Jesus to be our Savior. That's a wonderful thing. Aren't you glad for Jesus today? I mean, when you stop and think about all they had to do to get right with God, I'm thankful for a Savior named Jesus. Hey, I'll see you tomorrow. Be thankful today. God's good.